From New Mexico, Mr. Heinrich.
Thank you, Chairman. Undersecretary, this exploratory well was permitted under a categorical exclusion, as was alluded to earlier. It was based on a prior EIS, environmental impact statement, and an EA, and an environmental assessment, both done under NEPA. That EIS evaluated the potential environmental impacts of drilling in the western and central Gulf of Mexico, and the EA evaluated the impact of the lease sale that led directly to this well. The EIS estimates that we can expect 2 to 3 blowouts in the central Gulf and 1 to 2 blowouts in the western Gulf as a result of the 2007 to 2012 lease sales. The EIS also stated that since loss of well control events and blowouts are rare events and of short duration, potential impacts to marine water quality are not expected to be significant. Given that we now know that a blowout in the Deepwater may be of very long duration and obviously has significant impacts on marine water quality, do you believe that MMS should reconsider the underlying EIS and EA and other similar existing NEPA decisions that don't take the consequences of a Deepwater blowout very seriously?
I'd answer in two ways, Congressman. First of all, of course, as the Secretary testified, the Council on Environmental Quality is working with us to do a thorough review of the NEPA policy as it applies to Outer Continental Shelf Leasing Act. So we're going to take a stem-to-stern look at NEPA reviews, and there are some limitations under current law that we've talked about already. The other observation I'll make is that under the Oil Pollution Act of 1990, there is actually a requirement for a spill response plan to be put together on a worst-case analysis. This is not under NEPA. This is under OPA, and BP was required to put together a spill response plan that truly did, I think, assume worst case, 260,000 barrels per day for 30 days. And bigger than our current spill. It's because of that that we are able to respond as we have been in terms of the boats, the dispersant, all those issues. But there is no question in I think all of our minds this accident, which the question of worst case analysis needs to be updated with an idea of the lessons of this accident. We have to learn what those lessons are first, and the investigations will help us there. So we look forward to it. I can't speak now as to whether these specific EISs are still adequate or not, but they'll be part of our review.
When we talk about the Alaska leases that have been referenced on a number of occasions, and some of those having been granted, I know many of them were canceled before they were actually leased. Do those leaseholders have a contingency plan in place for if something like this happens in the Arctic?
They do have spill response plans in place. Those are all appropriately subject of additional reviews, I think.
Is MMS, do they have the authority to require these kinds of contingency plans for all leases moving forward? And is that being exercised?
They do, and they have. The very robust spill response plan that BP is required for in the Gulf, the 260,000 barrels per day response capability plan, was approved by MMS, and so they do have that authority, that responsibility.
I know the response is unprecedented, but I wouldn't exactly characterize what BP has been able to do over the past 37 days as a successful response to this situation. And I think we need to be careful about how we characterize that. I mean, theoretically, if we use the correct response, either the dome or a top kill procedure would have been successful weeks ago.
Right. No, I think you raise a very important point, Congressman. The traditional spill response plan looks at those traditional assets brought to bear when there's a spill. What we have here is a situation that where the containment at the first instance has been the problem. We need to look hard as to whether we have appropriate mechanisms in place for that at all, and we will do so.
Thank you, Undersecretary. Mr. Chair, I yield back.
junk